Right, today I want to talk about the iPod. Back in 2001, 2002, Apple came up with the iPods, which is more or less an MP3 player. Apple was the first one to come out with this, where it was portable, and you didn't. And prior to this, you got to walk around with the Walkman, or in your car that has CDs. You have to have a case full of CDs in it, or a rotating disc that in your trunk that switches CDs. If you left your car, you had to have some sort of Walkman or something. When the Apple came out with these, the very first one I bought was like around 200, 250 songs I can download on it. And when they first came out, you could only use them with the Apple computers that had the iOS operating system. Then 2004, they decided to redesign the iTunes. This way you can install it on Windows too, as well as the iOS on the Apple computers. As you can see, I already got the iTunes open. Now, if you had an Apple computer with the operating system iOS, any songs you may have had on it, you normally back them up onto a backup hard drive, but it had to be formatted for the iOS operating system. So if you decide to take it over to a Windows operating system, like Windows for the like Dell, IBM, whatever, you couldn't transfer the songs over them because it was completely two different operating systems. And then they around that time they started coming out like with 20 gigabytes, 30 gigabytes. After I purchased my first one, like 200 songs, 250 songs, I can't remember exactly how many I can download on it, but it was somewhere in that neighborhood. Second one was like 30 gigabytes, and I could hold like 2,000 songs on it. Then they came up with the 80 gigabytes, which just came close to like 20,000 songs. Now, this updated version, which is 160 gigabytes, could hold up to 40,000 songs, or 20, or a combination of pictures and videos. Now, I had purchased this over here,
explicit from 32665,
which you can install like your iPod in for a little bit better protection. And this here was the clip that went on your belt. Now my problem is when I have a wireless Bluetooth Bose headphones, which can come off, you can stick a wire in here, which will go into here, because this was not Bluetooth. And my problem is when I went to the restroom for when nature was calling, I had to take this off my belt. Otherwise, everything, the wires connecting from here to here will get disconnected. Now, this here takes the screen, and it leaves this part open here for the wheel. Now, it's got songs on it. Everything that I have on my iTunes is on here, along with the playlist. Now, back in December 2016, I purchased the iPhone, which had 128 gigabytes. And I put this in a drawer and it stayed in there in December 2016 or January 2017, somewhere around there. I put it in my desk and it's been collecting dust in there until like 2 weeks ago. When I was rifling through my desk to find something, I came across it. I totally forgot about it and what I did with it. Now, back in 2014, Apple had discontinued the iPod Classic because it didn't have Bluetooth and it didn't have FM radio on it. All it had on it was whatever songs you put on it, or videos and so on. Now, they were making back in 2005 or so the iPod Touch, and that you can have Bluetooth in it, but it only had like 64 or 80 gigabytes. You couldn't download too many songs on it compared to this, but because it had a touchscreen and it had Bluetooth built into it, which was a lot better than this in some ways, but this was better in other ways where you could store a lot more music on it. And that was the iPod Touch was discontinued in 2017 because with the smartphones and the iPhones, the tablets and the iPads, you can download everything right on your cell phone. This one here is an iPhone, has 256 gigabytes, and I have an iPad which has same thing, 256 gigabytes. Now the first one I had was the iPhone, which I didn't have to worry about carrying a cell phone and the iPhone together hooked up to my belt like this. I could walk around with one electronic device that did everything. It had data on it. It had all my songs on it. I could even watch videos on it. I could watch TV apps on it. In other words, this was just limited to whatever videos you put on it, and songs and so on. So I was just walking around with this since 2016, and this was collecting dust in my desk until like a couple of weeks ago. Now, after I had finished recreating my playlist today, I decided this is going to be the first time I'm plugging it in. As you can see over here, I got the iPad, 256 gigabytes, which I can hook up by way of Bluetooth to an external speaker that has Bluetooth, and we can be jamming to some music, or I can use the iPhone to do the same thing for private listening in case I'm in areas where people don't appreciate my type of music. There are going to be a few who would like my music, but I'm always going to come across a few who don't. So, either way, I can use Bluetooth headphones, and here is the Phonak hearing aid, which I can use to answer the phones with and talk to people on the phone through the hearing aid. I can press this button here, right over here to answer the calls, incoming calls, and to hang up the phone when I'm done. Or if I want to make calls, I will have to go here to make them. But I can either answer from here or from my hearing aid. But if I want to make phone calls, I got to make it from here. But I can also hang up from the hearing aid also. Now, today, if I got all my songs set up, so this is going to be the first time plugging in since 2016, 2017. Okay, there it is. Okay, the software required for communicating with the iPods is not installed. Would you like to download and install now? Why not? Let's go ahead. It's been like 4 years since 4.5 years since I've had it updated. So let's go ahead and do this. I just click over here to see if it's connected. Well, let's get rid of this for now. And this. Apparently, it's, as you can see, I got rid of the iPad, the iPhone and the iPad from there. And as you can see over here where it says it's looking for the phone, but that's not what I wanted. It's downloading. Okay, here it is. As you can see, it's 160 gigabytes over here. The picture of the iPod is identical to this, but without the case. And it's downloading. As you can see, the orange here is the audio, all my songs. Then over here in yellow, over here in the audio, I got like 93.67 gigabytes, which is all the songs I got it here. Well, when I first downloaded, I had a few doubles and triples on here. So I'm probably going to do the updates and get rid of the duplicates. Over here is where I got all the videos at. And over here is where I got the pictures. And over here is where I got like 27.13 gigabytes of free storage space. So this is going to take a little while in doing this. And as you can see over here, it says connected, eject before disconnecting, which I would say you would have to do in order to avoid corruption. As you can see over here, when I disconnected the iPhone and the iPad, even though the iPhone and the iPad, I was connecting it to the iTunes through Wi-Fi. And another way I can do that is if both the iPhone and the iPad has to be connected to the same Wi-Fi as the computer. And over here, you click like restore iPod here and check for updates. Enable disk use. That's like over here. You can use as a backup storage device, which sometimes I used to do. Like say, like I use a Quicken program, and I see download on here as a backup. Okay, over here you got the little circle going round and round, like you do over here on the iTunes. It's in sync, and over here you can see syncing Milad's iPod. Now I come over here. Well, sometimes when it does that, it'll take a little while to switch from summary, which is this over here, to here. So it looks like I'm gonna have to wait a few minutes. Of course, this has been sitting on my desk since 3.5 years. I have to wait for it. Oh, and by the way, this will come in handy if you want to put it in your car. You plug it into, if you got one of those dual cars, car manufacturers start putting in auxiliary ports. Which got a plug like this at both ends. So you'll plug one in here, the other end into the auxiliary port for the car where the radio is. They normally place it in the same area as the radio. And whatnot. And that way everybody can be listening to the music while you're driving down the road, and that will come in handy if you're going on long trips. And this is what I used to do between New York City and upstate New York. Well, it's still in the process of syncing, so it'll be a while before I can switch these here around, because like I said, it's been 3.5 years. Now, it's doing the updates here, and will automatically check for an update again on the 3rd, which will be tomorrow. Today's the 2nd. And if you want to manually manage your music and your videos, you click this. And if you want to convert to higher bitrate songs, you will click this and sync only the songs that are checked in videos. It would also do that. And over here where it says music, if you click on this, it'll bring up a different window here where you can click the entire list of music you have, or you can select what playlists you want, and or whatever singers you want. Like if you want to listen to Elvis Presley, or Tom Jones and so forth. You would check off the artist you want to sing, you want to download into it, just like you would with the iPhone. If you check my earlier video, which I did for the playlist, over there you will see how over here, I went through a list here where I could download music and whatnot for the playlist, just the playlists and not the entire songs or or I can download everything, which include the entire 18,000 songs I have, plus all the playlists. And that would be nice if you had like a large enough device that can do that. iTunes would only work with an Apple product. Whether if you're still old school where you want to use one of these, or if you want to go the updated version with the iPhone and the iPad. Huh. Well, it's still going through the process of updating because this hasn't been plugged into my computer in 3.5 years. It may take a while. Right now it says on the iPod, it says synchronizing, do not disconnect. And like I said, you don't want to disconnect it while it's doing it, because you may corrupt the software in here or the computer, one or the other. But it's always play it safe. Like when you hook up like a thumb drive, you want to make sure you disconnect it. Like over here, as you can see over here. I got an SD card right here. I right click on it and this pops up. Before I want to disconnect the SD card, I want to do this, which where is disconnected, as you can see. But I'm going to go ahead and plug it back in. As you see, the windows popped up. Now, as you can see over here, it's still syncing. But over here, it says Mlads IPO F. This is where I was talking about, where I got some free space here. As you can see, it's got my calendars, my contacts, notes, photos, recordings. I can also download stuff on here. Like say I come over here. Say like the Windows Media Player. I'm going to copy it. Switch this over here. And over here. I used to like doing this. Where using the extra storage space on iPod. Doing this before. Of course, it was easy and convenient. I already have one of these here, which has got 1 terabyte, where I got some all my stuff, everything backed up on that one, plus another one. But this one here got limited storage. So see, as you can see over here, I got the Windows Media Player. I had to download that for something, so I put it on here on my thumb drive, the SD card. But as you can see, I have it over here also. Here is in Microsoft Office. I got a few things on here, but I made it into folders. I can copy it. I can press send, which will send it right there. As you've seen before, I press copy, then I went here and press paste. Here's another way of doing it. And as you can see, it's downloading it here. And here it is over here. As you can see, edit and copy and paste it here. I press send too. And it's being sent directly into here, which is my iPod. Now that you understand this, it's always a good idea if you want to use the iPod for like a little storage device on certain items that's not going to take up too much space. You want to make sure you got enough room on your iPod to do that. I'll probably erase these two items because I'm not really needing it, because I got the other two items. As you can see, everything that was on the SD card is over here. I'll just let it go from now. Okay, now it's working. It eased up a little bit. I got here 17,378 songs, because I got so much storage space, like 160 gigabytes. I'm going to download the entire list. Music library includes any videos I may have on here too. Now, if I change, this applies to your iPhone, your iPad. If you don't have enough space on there, this had like 30 gigabytes instead of 160. In cases like that, I wouldn't be able to download the entire thing. But I think 30 gigabytes would have been able to handle this. But if you have one that couldn't, you over here, you press select playlist or artist, albums, and genders. Over here, I got 48. I think 48 movies on here. Over here, I got like some TV shows. Over here, I got some podcasts I used to listen to. And here, I got some audio books. And here, as you can see, some photos. But because it's got enough storage space, I can do this. You will go through a list over here doing the same thing for your iPhone, your iPad, and so on. But like I said, something like this will be good for your car. You just set it in there. And if you got a USB, I noticed that some of my relatives, they got a USB port in there as well, where you can hook up your phone and listen through music that way instead of using the auxiliary port, which is this here. So if you plug that into there, because it will not only charge your phone, but will enable you to listen to music. Well, this is the same way. You'll be able to charge it and listen to your music. And if it doesn't have one, you can use the audio auxiliary port on it instead. Whatever is available for you. I hope this is helped you decide on what you want to do. Oh, and yeah, by the way, when in 2014, when Apple decided not to sell these, when this first came out, it was like the earlier versions of it costed $350. And like all new technology, as you know, they always charge a lot more because it's a new item. But when time goes by, they knock like $100 off of this, like they did with the previous models. But the top price on it when it first came out was $350. After 1 year, it was like $250. This one's 160 gigabyte, came out in 2009, and in 2010, the price on it dropped. Now in 2014, when they discontinued these, the original top price was $350. People out there, you go on eBay, Amazon, and people were selling them for like $500-$600, more than what the original price tag was. So apparently they must have known at some point that Apple was going to discontinue it, and these people had money in their pocket to burn, so they bought like 50, 60 of them, if not more. And they start selling them at outrageous prices, like for $500-$600 back in 2014. And I was keeping track of them, like on my watch list thing for eBay. And I know some people that had their supply of iPod classics was dwindling, and went like say from 500 to 400, then to 350, 280, and so on. It was dwindling over a year and a half. Well, I hope you enjoyed the iPod review, and if you enjoyed it, give me a thumbs up.